Hey everyone, welcome back to my home. So this is my day 25 of my quarantine distraction videos that I've been doing for my students and for you all as a little way to just be distracted, stop thinking about everything that's going on in the world, and maybe think about something a little bit more pleasant, creative, and get your mind back thinking about clay. I know many of you are away from classrooms or studios and you're dying to get back, so hopefully these will inspire you to have some projects lined up that you want to work on when you get back into the studio. So this video I filmed actually a while ago and I just kind of edited it this morning. And a shout out to Denise MP82 who left me a comment yesterday asking for videos on pots with lids. So she wanted me to do some lid videos. I will do more than this, but this one I just happen to have on hand. So Denise, thanks for your shout out on that. So today's video is on throwing a small little, it's a salt cellar is what I'm calling it, because I needed a little pot in my kitchen to put loose salt. So this little pot has a gallery. I have thrown it with a gallery. You can see it's basically like a little ledge in there that's going to support the rim of the lid. And the lid was thrown as one piece and I trimmed away the knob. So I show the trimming and the throwing of this in this video. So leave me any comments or questions down below in the comments if you have any. And I hope that this finds you well, and I hope you all stay safe, stay healthy, and keep potting if you can. When I'm throwing my piece today, I'm going to be using the bat system with the inserts from Batman. I will put a link in the video description of how you can reach out to the company and get one of these systems. I've heard really great things about this particular bat system. I've heard a lot of negative things about some others. So for this one, I actually reached out to them to see if they would like me to do a video because I was really interested in trying it and sharing it with my viewers. So if you have bat pins on your wheel that are drilled, you can slide the holes of the bat holder over your bat pins, and then you just pop in your insert. Now, because this is a wooden surface, you'll find that it's more porous, and perhaps the clay doesn't stick quite as much. So I usually do recommend that people seal it. You could also wet it down a little bit if you wanted to add a little bit of water. I just try to avoid adding water. Having grown up in a house with a father who's a woodworker, I just avoid water when possible. I can easily get the clay to stick just by giving it enough downward pressure there. Now, I am making a lidded salt cellar. So I'm going to make the base first, and then I'll make the lid to go on the base. Whenever you make a lidded form, always make the base first before you make the lid. A gallery is most easily made on a rim that you have compressed and thickened up just a little bit. Leave yourself a little extra thickness so you can create the gallery. Now when I create the gallery, I'm going to be using the handle of a wooden tool to create like a square or 90-degree angle. Note that I'm holding with my left thumb and left forefinger. I'm holding the wall to support it as I go to create this gallery, and my hands are locked. So you can see I've got that little 90-degree shelf on the interior edge. The method that I'm using for this is similar to the method that I've used in another video on throwing a sugar bowl. So I'm actually making a pot that has a gallery on the rim, which is going to hold the lid. Now, these are calipers that I'm going to use to measure the interior of the gallery, and I tighten that up. So I know that I need to make a lid that will fit right within that. Now, because this is the first day that I'm trying out this bat system, I'm not 100% sure if I actually need to cut this or not. So I'll kind of update it to let people know, because I've tried some other pots with, some without. I'm not 100% sure if I need to cut. I found that this is a little bit snug, so I'm just taking a rounded tool there to lift up the corner. Okay. And the lid will sit in that notch of the gallery that's been created there. Now, as I make this lid, I have enough clay here where I could probably do two. I often recommend to my students, try two of them. You'll have one that looks better. I might just make one though. And here is high-speed centering, and then I'll be dropping the middle and opening it as a shallow bowl. So I'm making this like a little bowl, and I'm using my double-ended calipers to get the rim of the lid to be exactly the same size. This portion, of course, is quite sped up, but it's really about precision, using the calipers, measuring to make sure that the edge or the rim of the lid is exactly the same diameter as the gallery. And there I'm just cleaning it up, giving it a little bit of an undercut, trying to refine that form a little bit more, and always making sure that the diameter matches. For this one, I'm not going to cut it, so this would be the domed lid that would fit on top. I have left enough clay that I can trim a knob. There's probably an extra ½ inch of clay there at the bottom, and I'll bring the dome in a little bit more. After all that, I decided to take a little bit of the height off of this. I felt like it was just a little bit too tall, a little bit too domed for the form that I wanted to go for. So I just trimmed it off a little bit more, remeasuring it with the calipers, just to make sure that it has that nice precision that I want where it lines up. All right, trying this again, and I like that one a little bit better. It's going to be more shallow. I can trim off more of that, and that will fit right into that. So I'm not going to cut this one. We'll see how that releases in 24 hours or so when I go to take it off. Okay, here's a little sugar bowl. I'm sorry. This is the little salt cellar that I threw yesterday, and I'm not trimming a foot on it so much as I'm just tidying up the exterior to give it a nicer profile on the exterior. I am going to give it an indicator of a foot though, just because of the glaze that I want to use. It likes to have a little bit of a angle change for a foot ring to keep it from sticking. Depending on the glaze that I use, sometimes I might not even bother to do that. I am using B-Mix with grog here. So after I trim, I'm ribbing with the Small Mud Tools red rib to make sure that I have ribbed down any of the grog. Now I'm going to just tweak the edge of the lid, but I need to reverse the sliders on the Giff and Grip. And I want to add a little bit of extra precision on the very edge of the lid to make sure it is kind of precise and square, and it's going to fit into that gallery really nicely. I want it to have a really good fit down in there. Now, normally at this point, I would trim the lid knob while it's on the pot. So I'm going to now reverse the sliders again, and I'm going to hold the entire pot with the lid on it with the little short slider arms and rods. And since the lid fits nice and snug, as I trim this, it should hold it in place without any problem. So when I go to do a knob, I do want to make sure that this is centered. There we go. Make sure that the lid looks centered on the pot. I have a little wiggle room, so I just want to make sure it's as centered as it can be. I'm going to hold the lid, and I'm going to go straight down to remove a good deal of the excess clay outside the knob. Again, this was thrown, a little less than 24 hours ago. I let it dry throughout the day yesterday, and then last night before I went to bed, I covered all my pieces with plastic. I did leave it on the little wooden Batman wearboard. This is what I threw on the Batman bat system. And I really like that system. I think that's going to be really nice. Now, with a knob, the one thing to always remember is you want to have a little bit of an undercut so your fingers can slip under the edge. It will keep the lid much more secure when you pick it up so you don't drop it. You don't want it to go straight down. You definitely want an undercut. I tell my students this all the time. It's really important to making a safe, functional lid. Without that, it's really easy to drop a lid when you're trying to pick it up, especially if your hands are wet or anything. Now here I'm just giving this a little bit more of a rounded form. And there we go. I hope you've enjoyed and learned something from my little quarantine video on throwing a lidded pot with a gallery. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos on working with clay and more of my distraction videos coming out. And stay safe, stay healthy, and keep potting if you can.